What's good, Vikings Nation? It's time to get fired up for our second preseason game against the Patriots, kicking off at 12 p.m. Central Time on Saturday. This isn't just another exhibition game. It's a proving ground for players fighting for their spot on the Minnesota Vikings 53-man roster. With stars like J.J. McCarthy, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison sidelined, the spotlight's on the underdogs. Who's gonna step up and show they belong in purple and gold? The stakes are high, especially with our wide receiver room looking thinner than a Minnesota winter. We've got injuries, suspensions, and a whole lot of question marks. Lucky Jackson, Thayer Thomas, and others are getting their shot to shine. But can they handle the pressure? And don't sleep on the backup QB battle. Sam Howell's leading the charge, but Max Brosmer and Jake Rippon are lurking. This game could be a make-or-break moment for these guys. So what do you think, fans? Who's got the edge in this roster fight? Drop your predictions in the comments, because we're about to dive deep into the biggest storylines that could define our season. Let's go, Vikings! Alright, let's talk quarterback drama. J.J. McCarthy's our future, no doubt, but with him sitting out against the Patriots, the backup QB job is stealing the show. Sam Howell's getting the start, and Coach Kevin O'Connell's got high expectations for his QB too. Howell's got NFL experience, making him the favorite, but don't count out Max Brosmer and Jake Rippon. They're scrapping for that QB3 spot like true Vikings warriors. O'Connell dropped some wisdom, saying he wants backups who can own the game plan, even with limited reps. That's huge when you've got a young starter like McCarthy. Howell's got the edge with his time in the league, but Brosmer's been turning heads in camp. Rippon, he's got a chance to make a statement too. Saturday's game is their proving ground. Can they execute under pressure? What's your take, Vikings fans? Is Howell a lock for QB2? Or could Brosmer or Rippon pull an upset? Hit the comments and let's debate who's got what it takes to back up our boy JJ. Vikings Nation, our wide receiver room is in a rough spot right now, and I'm feeling the pain with you. Justin Jefferson's nursing that hamstring strain. Thankfully, he's expected to be ready for Week 1 against the Bears on September 8th. But with Jordan Addison suspended for the first 3 games and Rondale Moore out for the season with a brutal knee injury, we're scraping the bottom of the depth chart. Saturday's game is a golden opportunity for guys like Lucky Jackson, Thayer Thomas, Tim Jones, Jeshaun Jones, Dante Fleming, and Robert Lewis to show they can ball. Jalen Nailor's hand injury from Thursday's joint practice against New England only makes things trickier. These guys aren't just fighting for reps. They're fighting for their NFL lives. Can Lucky Jackson, who's been getting a ton of looks, prove he's a roster lock? What do you think, fam? Which of these underdogs is going to rise up and become a Vikings hero? Drop your thoughts below, because this receiver battle is about to get wild. Let's talk about our superstar, Justin Jefferson. The man, the myth, the legend, dealing with a mild hamstring strain that's kept him out of practice since late July. Vikings Nation, I know we're all holding our breath, but Coach O'Connell's giving us some hope. He says Jefferson's progressing and will be reassessed between August 18th and 22nd. That's next week, folks. Fingers crossed for good news. Hamstring injuries are no joke, especially after Jefferson missed 7 games in 2023 with a similar grade 2 strain. The Vikings are playing it smart, keeping him sidelined to avoid a repeat. But here's the kicker. Even while rehabbing, JJ's out there hyping up his teammates, calling plays, and acting like a coach. That's the leadership we love. Can he be 100% for the season opener in Chicago? What's your vibe on this, Vikings fans? Are you confident Jefferson will be ready to dominate Week 1? Or are you worried about that hamstring? Let's hear it in the comments. Vikings Nation, let's address the elephant in the room. Jordan Addison's 3-game suspension to start the season. After a July 2024 DUI arrest, the NFL hit him with a ban for violating their substance abuse policy. He's still balling out in camp and preseason, but come Week 1 against the Bears, Week 2 versus the Falcons, and Week 3 versus the Bengals, we're without our WR2. That stings. Addison's been a beast, racking up 19 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons, including 875 yards in 2024. His absence means we're leaning hard on Jefferson if he's healthy, and whoever steps up from the depth chart. This suspension puts extra pressure on the young guys to fill the void. Can they handle it? Who's going to be the X factor in Addison's absence, Vikings fans? Drop your picks in the comments, because we need all hands on deck to start this season strong. Alright, let's take a moment for Rondale Moore. Vikings Nation, this one hurts. Our speedy wideout suffered a season-ending knee injury in the preseason opener against the Texans. Coach O'Connell called it heartbreaking, and I'm right there with him. Moore was set to be a dynamic playmaker for us, and now we're left with a massive hole in the roster. Moore's injury means our depth is stretched thin, especially with Addison's suspension and Naylor's hand issue. The Vikings were counting on Moore's speed and versatility, and his absence is a gut punch. But this is where the next man up mentality kicks in. Who's going to fill those shoes? Vikings fans, how are you feeling about losing Moore for the season? Let's honor his fight by cheering on the guys stepping up. Share your thoughts below. Just when we thought things couldn't get crazier, Jalen Naylor goes down with a hand injury during Thursday's joint practice against the Patriots. Vikings Nation, this is not the news we wanted. Speedy Naylor was poised to be a key piece, especially with his 414 yards and 6 touchdowns last season, averaging nearly 15 yards per catch. Now, his status is up in the air. If Naylor's injury is serious, we're looking at a receiver room led by Jefferson and a bunch of unproven names. Naylor's deep ball threat was a perfect complement to JJ, and losing him could force the Vikings to rethink their game plan. Will he be back in time to make an impact, or are we digging even deeper into the depth chart? What's your take, Vikings fans? Can Naylor bounce back, or are we in trouble without him? Hit the comments and let's talk it out. Step up, Lucky Jackson. With Jefferson sidelined, Addison suspended, Moore out, and Naylor banged up, this undrafted gem is getting a massive chance to prove he's a 53-man roster lock. Jackson's been taking most of the reps in camp, and he led the offense with 3 catches in the preseason opener. Vikings Nation, is this guy the real deal? Jackson's not just fighting for a receiver spot. He's also in the mix for punt returner duties, a role left wide open by Moore's injury. He's got the athleticism and the hunger, but Saturday's game against the Patriots is his chance to shine against real competition. Can he make the leap from practice squad to game changer? Who's hyped for Lucky Jackson, Vikings fans? Drop a comment if you think he's going to lock in that roster spot, and let's see if he can carry this momentum. Vikings Nation, let's talk special teams. With Rondale Moore out for the season, we've got no established punt returner on the roster. Lucky Jackson's in the mix, but he's up against a hungry group of hopefuls like Silas Bolden, Ty Felton, and Miles Price. Saturday's game is a huge audition for these guys to claim that role. Returning punts isn't just about speed, it's about instincts, toughness, and ball security. Jackson's got the inside track with his receiver reps, but Bolden and Felton bring explosive potential. A big return or two could lock in a roster spot for one of these guys. Who's got the edge in this special teams showdown? What do you think, fans? Who's our next punt return star? Hit the comments with your pick, because this battle's gonna be electric. Let's break down the wide receiver depth chart, Vikings Nation, because it's looking like a puzzle with missing pieces. Without Jefferson, Addison, Moore, and potentially Naylor, we're rolling with Lucky Jackson, Thayer Thomas, Tim Jones, Jeshaun Jones, Dante Fleming, and Robert Lewis. That's a lot of unproven talent for J.J. McCarthy to work with. Rookie Ty Felton's a name to watch. His big play potential could make him a dark horse, but the lack of experience here is glaring. If these guys struggle against the Patriots, the Vikings might have to hit the free agent market hard. Can this group hold it down, or are we in for a rough start to the season? Vikings fans, who's your sleeper pick in this receiver group? Drop it in the comments because we need someone to step up big time. Okay, Vikings Nation, let's get speculative. If our receiver depth flops on Saturday, the Vikings might look to free agents like Amari Cooper, Tyler Boyd, Gabe Davis, Brandon Powell, or Odell Beckham Jr. Boyd and Beckham feel like natural fits. Boyd's got ties to the Sean McVay coaching tree, and Powell's a former Viking with special teams chops. Cooper's a long shot. He's not signing to be a WR3, but someone like Brandon Powell could bring familiarity and grit. The Vikings need a veteran presence if the young guys don't deliver. Would a big name make sense, or should we trust our current roster to figure it out? What's your call? Fans? Should the Vikings chase a free agent? And if so, who's the best fit? Hit the comments and let's debate. Vikings Nation, let's talk about our QB1, J.J. McCarthy. He's not playing Saturday, but his development is at the heart of everything. Missing reps with Jefferson and Addison is a bummer, but he showed promise in the preseason opener, going for 7 for 30 yards, mostly to Addison. The kid's got potential, but he needs his weapons healthy. McCarthy's got a tough road ahead with Addison out for 3 games and Jefferson's status uncertain. The Vikings traded up to draft him 10th overall in 2024, and Coach O'Connell believes he's the guy to build around. Can he sync up with the depth receivers in time for Week 1? What's your confidence level in McCarthy, Vikings fans? Drop a comment and tell me how you're feeling about our new QB1 leading the charge. Let's give a shout-out to TJ Hawkinson, Vikings Nation. With the receiver room in shambles, our star tight end could be a lifesaver for McCarthy. Hawkinson's back at practice after injury concerns, and he's looking like a full go for Week 1. He's played 35 of 44 games since joining the Vikings in 2022, and his reliability is clutch. Hawkinson's a mismatch nightmare for defenses, and with Addison out and Jefferson questionable, he could be McCarthy's go-to target early in the season. His return to team drills is a huge boost for an offense that needs all the firepower it can get. Can he carry the passing game if the receivers struggle? Vikings fans, how big of a role do you see for Hawkinson? Drop your thoughts in the comments because he might just be our secret weapon. Vikings Nation, we're just weeks away from the regular season opener against the Bears on September 8th, and the pressure's on. With Jefferson's hamstring, Addison's suspension, Moore's injury, and Naylor's hand issue, our offense is walking a tightrope. Saturday's game against the Patriots is a chance to see who can step up and give us hope. Coach O'Connell's playing it smart, prioritizing health and long-term success, but the lack of chemistry between McCarthy and his receivers is a red flag. If the depth guys don't deliver, we could be leaning hard on Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, and Jordan Mason to carry the load. Are we ready for Chicago? Or do we need a miracle? What's your gut telling you? Fans, are we built to start strong? Or is this depth issue gonna haunt us? Let's hear it in the comments. Alright, Vikings Nation, that's the breakdown for our preseason clash with the Patriots. From the backup QB battle to Lucky Jackson's big moment and the punt returner race, there's so much to watch. This team's got heart, and even with injuries and suspensions, we're fighting for that playoff run. Who's ready to see our boys in purple battle it out? I want to hear from you. Drop your predictions for Saturday's game in the comments. Who's stepping up? Should we sign a free agent? And how hyped are you for Week 1? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video with every Vikings fan you know. Let's keep the purple pride alive. Skol Vikings. Let's ride this wave together. See you in the comments, and let's get ready for some football.